Whether you are crushing your fantasy league mates or your fantasy teams are struggling, I have two pitchers, two hitters, and two prospects you need to add on your fantasy waiver wire now. Let's talk about it. And before I jump right into the advice, I do want to thank you guys for your continued support. The subscribers keep going up, the views are piling up. I really appreciate you guys. The love goes both ways. So thank you for that continued support. Also, you guys in the comments, I appreciate you greatly. If you have any questions after this episode, any comments on advice I gave, drop it in the comments. No comment goes unresponded to. I appreciate that as well. And of course, like I said, subscribe, like this episode. Let's go ahead and get straight into the pitchers that you should be adding this week on waivers. Our first pitcher on the list today is Spencer Turnbull of the Phillies. Tajon Walker is on the IL. Turnbull slots right back into the rotation. Spencer was phenomenal as a starter early on in the season. Walker's contract is kind of arguably the only reason that he stayed in the rotation over Spencer, in my opinion. He does have the right stuff, and when combined with this offense, it's an easy guy to grab, hold, use until he's just no longer a starter for this Phillies team. Now, our second recommendation is a reliever. You guys keep asking for relievers. I know typically I give two starting pitchers, but today we're going to go with a reliever for you guys. Aroldis Chapman of the Pirates. David Bednar is now on the injured list, which means Chapman has a real opportunity to get some saves for us. He's not perfect by any means. His ERA is a little concerning even for me, but Chapman is worth taking a shot on at the moment. I also like Reed Garrett of the Mets. I think he's a decent option, but I'm going to go with Chapman on the nod here because I think that he'll have more opportunities to close games. I think Reed is more temporary due to the Diaz suspension. I know Chapman is temporary as well, but I think he'll get a little bit longer of a chance for this. Moving on to the hitters, we have Noelvi Marte of the Reds. Marte's 80-game suspension officially ends on July 27th. Thursday of this week, depending on when you're watching. He is well worth a flyer for sure in your fantasy league. And if he does anything close to what he did prior to the suspension, you have a valuable hitter on your roster for the second half of the fantasy season. The team is dealing with injuries as well. So even if he doesn't start off hot, I think that he gets a little bit of room for the team to let him work, to try to work through those things. Stash him on your rosters now. Marte is certified fantasy waiver wire worthy. Our second hitter, I'm curious to see what the comments say about this, but Jared Kelenic of the Braves, he's starting to come into his own in Atlanta, considering he doesn't have to be the guy, right? Like they're not leaning on him as the man, so he's doing okay. However, he has nailed down a ton of playing time since the Acuna injury, and he's showing all 5 tools. He has some tough pitching matchups to face coming up, but as long as the opportunity is there and he isn't blowing it completely, I think he should be rostered on your leagues. Now, you may want to roster him and not start him at the moment. Maybe you want to see it, be a little more consistent. But at the moment, I do believe you should get Kelenic on your rosters in fantasy baseball. Now, you guys know we move fast on these episodes. I don't like to waste any time. I cut out all the fluff, but I do, before we get to the prospects, I just want to mention again to subscribe to the show, hit that like button. Your support means everything to us. It means the world to us. Every video you guys show love to, or you guys subscribe after you watch it, it means everything to us. So thank you for your support. Let's go ahead and jump into the two prospects. Now, our first prospect we have talked about in the past, it's Joey Loperfido of the Astros. Abreu is gone. Tucker is hurt. Loperfido is absolutely going to get more playing time. He's going to play more frequently and consistently. With that playing time, the Astros will have to figure out, how does Loperfido fit into this team as a long-term piece? In fantasy, he has the power that we want, that we care about. He can steal bases. He can do a little bit of everything. Again, he's young. The Astros have to figure this out, but he is going to give you a shot right now. He deserves to be in your lineup. Put him on your roster. Give him a chance. Let's see how this prospect plays out for the Astros. My second prospect is Heston Kjerstad for the Orioles. He's an obvious add. Of course, be wary of the adjustment period. The Orioles strategy with their young call-ups has been interesting so far, to say the least. He should get everyday time sooner rather than later. I know we talk a ton about the Orioles and their talent, but he's another one of those guys, has the crazy upside in fantasy. He should be making an impact on this team. Add him to your rosters. Let's see how it plays out. If you don't feel comfortable starting him right away, let the team, get him in the action, see how it works, and then you can put him onto your starting lineup. But get him onto your rosters. He deserves to be stashed for sure. Now, a little bonus, just a couple of guys I want to repeat. If you didn't catch the episode last week, or if you did, I'm still repeating this because Taj Bradley for the Rays, I don't know how we're still talking about it, but when he's on, he is on. He is the man. So if you're watching this and you've been one of those guys who have shied away from Taj Bradley, please stop doing that. I know there's an abysmal offense there in Tampa, but Taj Bradley, boys, we are going to keep cheering his name on until the league ownership in fantasy is high enough for us to stop mentioning him. Get Taj Bradley in your lineups. A hitter from last week that I mentioned who also was a prospect, Ben Rice of the Yankees. I talked about him last week. Anytime you can get a piece of the Yankees offense, you really should do it. Rice is filling in for the injured Anthony Rizzo, of course, and while he's not off to a hot start, he's not on fire by any means. He is being walked as much as he's striking out. His ability should play up, and he's worth it, especially it's a nice little bonus in leagues where he does have that catcher eligibility. So again, Ben Rice should be added in your leagues. If you've held off so far and he's still available, get him on your rosters. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate your love and support. Drop your comments. If you have any questions, any comments, any player I missed, any player you don't agree with, drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the like button, drop your comments. I appreciate you guys always. I am Neil. This is Rawa Fantasy, and I am out.